Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something important. We're looking at housing affordability in Jamaica, specifically what's happening right now in the immediate and frankly brutal aftermath of Hurricane Melissa.
It was a huge event. Our
Yeah.
sources are calling it a historic and catastrophic tropical cyclone. And it just completely reframed the entire conversation.
And it seems like the storm did more than just damage buildings and roads. It really exposed a fundamental truth that I think Jamaicans already feel very deeply. Housing isn't just an asset there.
It's not. It's dignity, it's stability. For so many, it's about survival itself.
Okay, let's unpack that right away because the main idea we pulled from all this material is, well, it's pretty counterintuitive, isn't it? Especially compared to what you hear in global economic reports.
It really is. The sources are absolutely unanimous on this one point. Affordability in Jamaica will not get better just because a storm passed.
That feels like a really tough place to start.
It's a difficult truth, but it's the critical starting point. I mean, there's no economic rule, and certainly no moral one, that says destruction makes housing cheaper. It just doesn't work that way.
Right. When you look at the actual logistics of it.
The opposite is true. You're suddenly dealing with a massive regional surge in demand for everything. Construction materials don't get cheaper. Skilled labor doesn't just, magically appear. And things like shipping and insurance, they certainly don't get any easier.
So it's a brutal calculation, really. The storm creates this urgent, massive need for new housing, but that just injects incredible competition into a system that was already really strained.
Exactly. The disaster just amplified all the underlying structural problems. So if prices aren't going to fall, then the goal of this deep dive isn't to find some mythical cheap house.
It's something else.
It is. It's about what Dean Jones, the founder of Jamaica Homes, said. He puts it this way: real affordability isn't about cheaper houses. It's about structured access, disciplined development, and knowing who the homes are actually being built for.
Structured access. That's the key phrase. And that's our mission today, to figure out what that actually looks like on the ground right now and how you, our listener, can find an opportunity in all of this.
Precisely.
Well, that takes us right to the first major conflict here, which is why the global housing narrative just completely fails when you try to apply it to Kingston.
It does.
You read reports from, say, the US or Europe, and it's all about interest rates, price corrections, inventory softening up, but our sources say that's all just context specific.
It fails completely because the market's challenges are, they're unique to the island context. You really have to define Jamaica's housing market as a demand-heavy, supply-constrained island economy.
And that combination just throws all those global models right out the window.
It does.
Okay, so let's list them. What are the specific constraints keeping supply so low and demand so high?
Well, first, the land itself is finite. I mean, it's an island. There's only so much developable land, and it's often further limited by geography and environmental protections, which are even more important now.
Of course. And what about materials?
That's the second point. There's a really high dependency on imports. Everything from steel to lumber is tied directly to global shipping costs and, crucially, currency fluctuations. The value of the Jamaican dollar versus the U.S. dollar has a direct, immediate impact on how much it costs to build.
And then on top of that scarcity, you have this intense demand. You mentioned diaspora demand. This isn't just a small factor, is it?
Oh no, it's a powerful, constant economic force. The diaspora drives confidence, but more importantly, it brings foreign exchange directly into the market. They have a unique purchasing power.
So when a new project launches, they're a ready-made market.
A ready, highly motivated market segment. You combine that with this deep cultural attachment to owning a home, it's not just an investment, it's a legacy. And any new stock gets absorbed at an incredible speed.
So when something good hits the market, the line is already formed. It's not like a big continental market where things might sit for a while.
Absolutely not. The sources are very clear on this. When something is described as genuinely affordable in Jamaica, it moves. It moves fast. Often it sells out before it's even officially launched. That's the reality.
So it's a market that rewards speed, not patience,
Decisiveness.
not waiting.
That's structural reality. It pushes us right to the next big question. The uncomfortable truth about construction costs and this idea of engineered affordability. After the hurricane, the focus had to shift, right? Away from luxury spec building and towards just rehousing people.
It was a necessary pivot. The government's attention is now laser-focused on replacement housing and on building back stronger, improving resilience standards. The only way to do that at scale is through public-private partnerships.
But let's just face the elephant in the room. The actual cost of building is going up, not down.
It is, and that trend is basically cemented now. You have the global volatility for materials we just talked about, but now you have regional demand surges. Every island hit by that storm system is competing for the same cement, the same roofing, the same steel. So Jamaica is bidding against Florida, against the Caymans.
Exactly. And third, skilled labor is in incredibly high demand. Masons, electricians, plumbers. The rebuilding effort is huge, and competition for those trades is intense. You can't wish those costs away.
Okay, so if the cost to build a house isn't falling, how can affordability possibly improve for the average person? This brings us back to that Dean Jones quote. The goal isn't to make housing cheaper. It's to make recovery faster, smarter, and fairer.
And this is where engineering access comes into play. It's the key to understanding the market right now. Since the price tag on the house is high and fixed, you have to create affordability through other means, through policy.
All right, let's detail those mechanisms. This is really the heart of it. How are they engineering this access?
Okay, first, through financing structures that are targeted at specific groups of people. The National Housing Trust, the NHT, is the perfect example. They can offer subsidized interest rates far below what a commercial bank can offer.
So the price of the house is the same, but the monthly payment, which is the real barrier for most people, is significantly lower.
That's it. That's a huge difference. Second, you have density strategies. On an island with finite land, you have to build up. You move away from single-family homes and toward townhomes and apartment complexes, usually near transport hubs.
Which lowers the per-unit cost of the land and the infrastructure.
It does. And third, you've got land partnerships and policy alignment. Government agencies can partner with developers, maybe provide land that's already zoned, or fast-track the approvals.
Cutting down on the developer's risk and time?
Right. And in exchange, the developer guarantees a certain number of affordable units aimed directly at those NHT contributors. It makes these big projects viable even with tighter profit margins.
So that's the core takeaway for you, the listener. The house itself isn't getting cheaper, but the path to owning it is being deliberately structured to be more accessible for very specific, targeted groups.
It's smart policy. It's about channeling supply, where it will have the biggest impact on recovery and stability.
Okay, so let's talk about where that supply is actually going. This is where the market's sweet spot becomes really clear. And the first group, the central group, is NHT contributors.
They are absolutely at the center of this next phase. And the reason is just, well, it's pragmatic. For developers, NHT demand is real, it's bankable, and it's immediate.
The buyers are basically pre-qualified.
They are. The financing is already in place through those subsidized mortgages, so the developer's risk is much, much lower.
Yeah.
If the government wants to get a big, affordable housing project off the ground quickly, these NHT-aligned developments are the first port of call.
It's all about risk reduction. And that focus on guaranteed demand is now attracting another group, global developers.
Yes. This is a big shift. We're seeing international investment looking very closely at Jamaica's affordable and near-affordable market. And it's not out of charity.
It's out of clarity, you said. Clarity on risk. Because usually they're chasing high-end luxury projects.
They were. But luxury units can be slow to sell. They're sensitive to downturns. This affordable segment, especially the part aligned with the NHT, it moves volume. It provides stable, sustainable returns. They see fast sales, consistent demand.
And that diaspora confidence we talked about?
Exactly. It acts as a reliable floor for the market. Right. So they're trading a high margin on one unit for a reliable margin on hundreds of units. It's a de-risking strategy for them.
There's a great quote that sums it up. The smartest developers aren't chasing headlines. They're chasing homes that sell before the paint dries.
That's the new currency. Speed and certainty of sale.
Which means we have to give a reality check for the non-NHT buyers. For anyone outside that ecosystem, maybe you're renting, maybe you're in the informal economy, the opportunities are going to be limited.
And extremely competitive. This is the lived experience of the market. These affordable opportunities are scarce, and they often disappear in a first-come, first-served rush. Waiting for the perfect time or for prices to crash is it's not a viable strategy.
You have to be ready to move. And that idea feeds right into our final segment. The defining feature of the Jamaican market right now is that speed is the new scarcity.
It applies to everything. The speed of project approvals, the speed getting your financing in order, and critically, the speed of your own personal commitment when an opportunity appears.
So for you, the listener, you have to shift your perspective. Affordability isn't some event where prices suddenly drop. It's a process that's being shaped by policy, by partnerships, but also by your own patience and aggressive preparation.
It's all about being ready when that window opens. And that final quote from Dean Jones really hammers it home. In Jamaica, affordability doesn't arrive with a trumpet. It slips in quietly for those who are ready.
So what does that mean for you, practically, right now? It means don't panic. Don't wait for the myth of collapsing prices. Don't assume this post-disaster environment automatically favors the buyer.
No, instead, you need to stay informed about specific policy shifts, like new high-density developments. Get your finances organized. Critically, confirm your exact contribution status with the NHT right now, even if you weren't planning to buy this year.
Understand what you're eligible for.
Yes. And talk to professionals who get this local nuance, who understand the NHT system. And above all, when one of these structured affordable opportunities does appear, you have to recognize that decisiveness is your most valuable currency.
So to recap our deep dive, Jamaica is in a phase of rebuilding, not resetting. The fundamental economics mean destruction does not equal lower prices. The focus is on stability.
The goal is to restore that stability and expand access in a responsible way, channeling the new housing supply toward those who are structurally positioned to access it.
This rebuilding phase is creating windows, not windfalls. Our sources say for developers it's about purpose-led planning and for buyers, financial discipline. So we leave you with this question. In a market where being decisive and prepared is everything, what does your purpose-led planning look like right now? What are you doing today to be ready for that window when it opens?
That's the question to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us.